Hey guys, how's it going? Good morning. Let me go and set up this room real quick and then we can get started. 6:21 right now, so we got about 9 minutes till market open. So I'm gonna go ahead and just get everything all set up. Once everything is set up, we can get started with our analysis of US 30 for this morning. So everything all set up right here. It's good. It's good. Cool. Today is Wednesday, December 8th. Halfway through the trading week. It's been a great week so far. All right, looks good. Let me get the link here for you guys in the premium. That's good. All right, let me send this link out to you guys here. There we go. All right, cool. People are making their way into the room right now, guys. So I'll give it a few minutes for people to make their way in. As people make their way in, we can get started with our analysis of US 30 at 6:23 right now. So good morning, everybody. Wednesday, December 8th. Market's opening in about 7 minutes. So we'll analyze everything shortly. See everything all set up here. It looks like we're good. All right, cool. People are making their way in right now. So I'll get a few more minutes before we get started with our analysis here. But we should be getting started shortly. All right, cool. Morning, Delmas. Morning, Orain. Morning, Kenny. Morning, Maria. Morning, Peter. Morning, Lisa. Morning, everyone. Morning, Fumi. All right, guys. So it's 6:24 right now. Let's take a look at the news first. Let's see if there's any news today. Let's see, Wednesday, December 8th. We've got Jolt's job openings at 7. Crude oil inventories at 7:30. 10-year bond auction at 10:01. And that's about it for this morning. So we do have a lot of news today, which could be a good thing or could be a bad thing. It could be a good thing because there'll be volatility in the market when the news comes out. However, there could be a bad thing because it can easily cause price to be a bit erratic when the news events do come out. So we'll be a bit careful around 7 o'clock. But other than that, I think we should be good. Looking over here at the retail sentiment, it's currently 59% short, meaning that 59% of traders in the market are currently on the short side, which will be good for us if we're looking to take buys. Looking at the futures data right now, it's currently up 25 points, which is not too much. So it's not very strong on the bullish side just yet. We'll see what happens when the market opens in about 5 minutes. When the market opens in 5 minutes, we'll take a look at the actual futures data for the day and the Dow average. So we'll see where the stocks are sitting for the day. If they're mostly bullish, then that'll be good because it'll align with retail traders being opposite on the short side, which is good for us. Other than that, let's take a look at the technicals over here. So looking at the 1 minute, currently we have a indecisive bias. It's somewhat bearish, but it is indecisive. Reason for that is because it keeps bouncing around the middle of the pivots here. However, currently the trend meter is red and price is slightly below the pivot. So this indicates that we have a bearish bias on the 1 minute, slight bearish bias. Looking at the 3 minute, we have a bearish bias as well. And the reason for that is because we have price below the pivots and the trend meter is red. However, it's not that strong. You can see that price is starting to bounce its way back to the upside, which is normal prior to market open. What I could expect here is I'm expecting price to spike right back up and switch from this somewhat bearish bias to a bullish bias. Looking over here at the 10 minute, same situation. It's like right in between the pivots as it bounces around. The trend meter is red though, but I think when the market does open, it'll swing back to the upside, but who knows? We'll see what happens when the market actually does open in the next 4 minutes. Other than that, looking at the higher time frame, 1 hour, it's in a bullish bias. So you can see right here on the higher time frame, it is bullish. On the 10-minute, 3-minute, and 1 minute, it's indecisive, but more so on the slight bearish side. However, when the market does open, I do think it will be swinging to the upside. One problem here is that when it does swing to the upside, it will be running into the previous New York high, London high, and the Asia high above here. So even if it does push above to this point, what can happen is price will push up and then it can easily just bounce right off it. So that's something that you guys want to be wary of if you guys do decide to take any trades off market open. Measuring this price point right here, it's currently 450 pips actually. So there's not a crazy amount of space in between, but just from looking here, it's not very much enough to hit the breakout, because the breakout is going to be about 500 pips. So something to be aware of. Market is opening in 2 minutes now. So we'll wait until the market does open, then we'll make our decisions from there. Let's see who else is here. Morning, Ardonius. Morning, Raj. Morning, Miles. Morning, Matt. Morning, Maddie. I just sneeze real quick. Let me mute this. All right, cool. So guys, it looks like we're ready to get started. So the market is opening in about 1 minute and 30 seconds. So when the market opens, we'll determine what direction fundamentals are pushing. My guess is that it's going to be bullish, but we'll see what happens when the market does actually open. Hey, David. Morning. Morning, Fahad. Morning, everyone. Yeah, Maddie said there's a lot of highs established on the 1 minute. So looking at that right here, this would be considered like a big area of liquidity, right? So when price pushes past this area, I think we're going to get a big bullish push to the upside. But we'll see what happens when the market does open shortly, in about 1 minute. So you can see that price is now pushing to the upside. So it's currently slightly bearish. Now it's moving to slightly bullish, which is what we were anticipating earlier. Reason for that's because the 1 hour is still bullish. So my guess is that price is going to push up. What you want to be careful of is whether it bounces off that high or this high right here, because it's probably going to bounce off one of those, but I do think it's going to push up. So let's see what happens in the next 30 seconds. All right, market is now opening in about 20 seconds. We got about 15 seconds till market open. We got about 10 seconds. Market is opening in about 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. The market is now open. So looking at this right here, you can see that bullish push right there. Let's take a look at the fundamentals and see where everything's sitting. Let me refresh this. It's currently 45 points in the green, so it's not very strong. However, it is bullish right now. You can see the stocks are mostly green. So looking at current price right here, you can see it's slowly climbing up. But, like I mentioned earlier, you guys want to be careful because it's getting close to this London high and New York high from yesterday. So let's just zoom in a little more. If this closes as a strong green candle, it will technically be the breakout. However, it's not one that I would necessarily recommend taking because it's too close to these areas right here. I would prefer that it pulls down a little bit and then it swings back up, but you can see from here, the fundamentals aren't very strong. The 26 points in the green. So there's no bias here at all with regard to the fundamentals. They're still pretty much indecisive as well. All right, so if price closes below here, this would technically be a sell for the breakout. And the reason for that is because we would have a sell signal here, and this would be a strong red candle. However, it's not one that I wouldn't want to take either because it's getting close to this Asia low. So even if we do take this trade here, it can easily bounce off this as well. So it's just not in a good area right now. I'd probably want it to break out of these highs and lows from previous sessions before I can take any of these trades here. But technically, this would be the breakout. It's not one that I would recommend people take, or it might not even close. It needs to close as a red candle with a sell signal there with little to no wick on the bottom side. If that closes, then this would technically be the breakout here. There's too big of a wick on the bottom side, so it doesn't look like this is going to be an entry. Yeah, no entry off that. So nothing off that right there. It would need to close with the sell signal. It would also need to close with a strong candle as well. So sell signal and strong candle. If not, we would need a strong green candle. So if this closes right here with a strong green candle, meaning little to no wick on it, then that would be a breakout for a buy. So you guys can see what I'm looking for here. Yeah, Maddie, I just saw your message. Yeah, no, technically, if it did close with that sell signal, it would have actually been a pretty good entry because it would have closed as a high-low entry. Plus, it would have closed as an entry for the other two strategies, the pivots and the intraday as well. Professor, it's 500 pips both ways for the breakout. So you can see right here, it's pushing back up to where we initially anticipated, right? So we initially anticipated this bullish move. However, at this point, it's at these session highs, so it can easily bounce off. So I wouldn't recommend taking it, but this is a breakout right here. So this is a candle that we were looking for, a strong green candle. So this is a breakout, but it's not one that I would recommend because of these previous session high lows over here. Price can easily bounce off any of these session high lows. So it can easily bounce off that point right there too. So I'm not going to take it, but if it does hit, you guys can see that this is the entry that we were looking for. So from the beginning of the session, we were anticipating a bullish move. But I did warn that if we did get that bullish confirmation there for the breakout, I wasn't going to take it because it can easily bounce off any of these previous session highs right here. So it's just too risky. And you can see right there, it's rejecting right off it perfectly. It's just too risky off this. So we'll follow it, but this isn't going to be counted as an official entry, and it's also not going to be one of my trades because I'm not taking it. The only trades that are being counted are the ones that I'm actually taking, and the ones that I'm confirming that are valid entries. This is a valid entry, but it's not one that fits my risk parameters. I'm not looking for any trades that are too risky. I want trades that are actually going to be almost guaranteed hits. So as you can see, price rejected off this perfectly, right? The previous New York high. So this green line right here, I mentioned that this area right here is a really dangerous area to trade because price can easily bounce off any of these points. And that's exactly what happened. Price came up here, it rejected off the New York high, and now it's coming right back down. This doesn't necessarily mean that it can't swing back up, but I don't want to be put in that position where I'm in a position that's like 50-50. I'd rather be in a position where it's like almost for sure it's going to go in that direction. So nice. So Ken actually took it, but he took it for a smaller TP lot and he got out. So nice work, Ken. But yeah, see, this is a clear example why you guys got to be careful where you guys are taking these trades. So I'm going to take this off right now so you guys don't get tempted to enter the trade. But we're going to be looking for entries using the other strategies here. So I'll put up the other strategies over here, high-low scalp. And if you guys are new here, or if you guys have been here for a while, you guys know exactly what we're looking for. We're looking for, these are all separate strategies, but I'm looking for the strategy that lines up with all three of them off the same candle. So I need pretty much all these strategies here to line up all together, or close enough in order for me to take the trade. So I'm being very selective with the trades that I decide to take, especially during the winter season, because winter seasons, it's a bit risky. For one, there's a lot of news. For two, it's the holidays, right? So you're going to see a lot of back and forth movement in the market. Some days will be really slow, some days will be really fast, just depending on like what's going on. However, today there's a lot of news coming up at 7 o'clock, so that's something to look out for. So I'll be looking for that there on the 1 minute. On the 3 minute, I'll be looking for the daily, and for the pivot scalps on here as well. Yeah, so depending on these entries here, if these two line up on the 3 minute, I might take it. However, it's just going to really depend on how the trade looks. So if the trade does close here, it needs to be a valid signal for a valid sell. However, I'm not looking for a sell right now until we have confirmation that buy is here to sell. It's still bullish. So you can see right here, it's still 38 points in the green. However, it's not very strong. Breaking news from CNBC indicates that stocks are flat after 2-day rebound, which makes sense. The opening range right now is not that wide. It's kind of small, actually. So these are the entries that we're looking for in the 3-minute. We'll continue to see if anything here confirms. If this closes right here, this would technically be an entry, but it's not one that I would take because it doesn't fit the fundamentals. Fundamentals are currently not bearish right now. They're still bullish. And another problem is that it's getting close to this Asia low right here. So same situation as earlier. I wouldn't want to be taking any trades near these previous session high lows because price can easily bounce off them. And you definitely don't want to be caught in a position that can easily bounce off, one of these points here. So nothing there for me personally. Over here, we're going to be looking for some snipes. See if I have any zones in this area. We actually have a lot of zones. So it's pretty messy right here. See, I'll have to draw some zones right here real quick. So this would technically be a sell snipe if it closes in the next minute and 40 seconds. So if this here closes, then I would be kind of tempted to enter or I'll mark it up. Because if this closes here, then this would confirm a sell bias for the 10-minute. So this would line up with a sell as well in the 3-minute. I would probably consider it a bit risky, but it might satisfy the requirements. I mean, there's a lot of sell entries right here. So there's a bunch of sell snipes that actually came up earlier right here pre-market, and they all would have hit full TP. So all of these right here, like technically this one right here would have hit full TP already. Right there. This one right here might not be a sell snipe because the pivot is touching the body. It would have to not touch the body in order for it to be valid. Going over to the 3-minute. Yeah, if this closes valid right here, like a valid sell signal, Charlie, then it would technically be a sell entry for the 3-minute. But I'm going to be, be wary of taking this trade here because the problem is that it's close to this Asia low. So what I would do is if you do decide to take it, Charlie, I would recommend once it moves in profit, move your stop loss in profit just in case it decides to swing back up. Because what could happen is price could come down to this Asia low and then bounce right off it. So you just want to be careful. Yeah, if this closes in the next 2 minutes, it still has 2 minutes left on the candle, so it's got a long way to go. But when it does close, it can possibly be an entry here for the 3-minute. This entry right here, there's technically an entry here off the 1 minute, but it's not one that I would take because it doesn't fit the requirements that I'm looking for. I'm looking for all 3 requirements here to fit. This sell signal right here actually fits the pivot scalp and the intraday strategy so basically 2 strategies right there that that is satisfied, but it's not one that I would take because it doesn't fit. And it does hit TP right there. You can see it's TP really quick. But it does pull back right here. So, I just find it too risky because 1, the candle's too big, and 2, not all 3 requirements are met like I'm looking for here. So I pretty much need all 3 requirements to be met before I can be interested in taking the trade here. So nothing off this here. The 3-minute never closed, so there's no entry right there off the 3-minute, which is fine. I mean, it's cool. I'm waiting for it to break out of these areas here because I don't want to be trading in the areas where there's previous session high lows. No entry here off the snipe either. If this closes, so this is one thing to look out for. If this closes like this with a wick projecting off the pivot and structure like that, then this would be a snipe here for a sell. It's still got 8 minutes left on the candle, so we'll come back and take a look at that at about 6:50. However, it's going to be risky because the news is coming up at 7. So you guys got to keep in mind that we have You guys got to keep in mind that we have high impact news right here at 7 o'clock. It's Jolt's job openings. It's supposed to be positive, so we'll see what happens there. We also have medium news at 7:30, so we'll see what happens in the next couple minutes or so. But yeah, if this closes with the wick rejecting off the pivot and structure there, then this would technically be a snipe for a sell. I don't want to confirm the fundamentals first though before I take that trade or anything like that. No entry here off this buy signal. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to draw the highs and lows now. So we got a high right over there. We got a low right over there. We got another low over here. Sorry guys, my dog's barking. All right, so looking at this right here, we have the main high from the market open right here, which is, sorry guys, my dog keeps barking in the background. Let's just range this real quick. So looking at this right here, the range is actually pretty wide. It's not that wide. It's not as wide as it normally is. So if you guys remember the range from not yesterday, Monday, but the day before that, or actually no, yesterday was Tuesday. So the range yesterday was pretty small. It was like less than 1,000 pips. The day before that, it was like 1,500 pips. So that's usually like the normal range for US 30 when the market's actually volatile. It's kind of slow this morning, but it should pick up once the news happens in the next 15 minutes or so. So let's see what we got over here. Looks like we might have a sell bias here. Looks like price continues to drop lower and lower, but it's just like right down the middle. It's not really moving too much. It's still at 25 points in the green, but it's not really enough for it to have a strong bias either direction. Janae's asking, what's a K2 pivot? K2 pivot's a K2 pivot indicator, Janae. These two lines right here. On the 10 minutes, the one with the 4 lines right here. It's the same indicator we've been using pretty much every day for like all of our sessions. It's always been the same. It's one of the K2 indicators over here. All right, going back to the 1 minute over here. No entry available yet, but you can see that this range is getting tighter and tighter. So this range right here is the wide one for this higher high and this lower low. And then this higher low and lower high right here is going to be the tighter range, which is fine because this is going to provide for a breakout that should be happening at some point. One thing that you want to be wary of is the news though. So market's not moving too much. Let me turn this off so we have more space on the chart. Okay. All right, so we got a sell signal right here. If this sell signal closes below this point, then this would be a high-low entry for a sell. And it would fit all the requirements here for the other entries. You know, I would consider it a bit risky, but it would fit the requirements, so I might take it. Actually, I would take it for sure. So yeah, we got a penny right here, like Charlie mentioned, off the 1 minute and the 3 minute. It needs to close below. It's not going to, it looks like. Yeah, it's not going to. So unfortunately, no entry off that. Looks like it invalidated that low too, so no entry off that one either. Pending off a 3 minute right here. This is gonna be a bit risky. If it does close below here, it's gonna be a bit risky because it's gonna have to pass this Asia low from yesterday. But there's not one that's available right now. All right. So we do have the pending sell right there off the 3 minute. Problem with this is that it's going to be running into this Asia low over here. So we'll come back and take a look at that. This candle is going to close in about a minute. Going back to the 1 minute over here, both of these have been invalidated. So there's no longer a low there. There's a low right here. However, it has to be established before we can take that or use it. Yeah, other than that, there's no other low until like, it doesn't come for a while. So we'll have to use this as a working low, but we need it to confirm before we can take, obviously any entry here. All right. Yeah, Maddie said that the 10 minute has a huge wick. So a huge wick off that. If this candle here closes, this is going to be a snipe entry. But again, I don't think this is one that I would want to take because it's right next to the Asia low over here. I'll turn on the sessions indicator again. Still loading. Yeah, as you can see right here, it's like way too close to this Asia low. So it would have to break, it would have to pass it in order for it to hit full TP, which is just, I mean, it's just too risky. Still no entry here off the 3 minute. But regardless, if it does, so if you guys do decide to take any of these trades here that we're marking up, because we're anticipating all these trades here to close out, if you're taking the snipe here, or if you're taking this 3 minute, I would recommend moving your stop loss and profit almost immediately after pushing the profit, or use a trailing stop, because I do expect it to drop a bit, but I don't know if it'll reach the full TP because it can easily bounce off this Asia low right here. So I'm probably not going to take it because it's just too risky. But if you guys do decide to take it, because it does line up with both of these strategies right here, and it also lines up with the snipe. So the thing is, if you're looking for things to line up here, there's technically 3 strategies that line up here as well. This one, and this one as well. So it can definitely be a good entry. It's just, it's going to be really risky. Specifically because of the Asia low down here. Usually price breaks out of these points once we enter a new session, but today the volatility is just really low. Also, one thing that you want to keep in mind is that we have news coming up in about 10 minutes. So I'll leave this marked up here for whoever wants to take it. However, I'm not going to take it, and I'm going to find it as a risky trade because we do have news coming up in 10 minutes. Unless this hits TP in the next 10 minutes, it's going to be, it's just going to be a really risky trade to enter. Yeah, Maddie said 10 minute has huge wick, 10 minute print of variation, way too risky for a sell. I agree. So I'm not going to take it. We'll have it marked up though, so that we can follow it to see if it hits. However, it's going to be risky due to the fact that we have the Asia low right there. So, and you can see that price is starting to push to the upside. So I'm not in this position. I don't recommend anyone take it. We're just gonna have it marked up there. We'll come back to it later if it does hit. We'll just put an alert there so that we can come back to it and we'll just review the trade later. But I do find this trade very, very risky. So we'll come back to that later. Also, it didn't line up with the 3 minute here. So it's not one that I would have taken regardless. And you can see how price is starting to spike its way all the way back up. So we got the low there still. If price comes back down, then that break the low. If price breaks above here, actually this would break the high. However, it's not going to fit the requirements here because we already have a buy signal. We would need an opposite sell signal in order for it to provide an entry for us with all of these strategies here. It would fit it for one strategy, but not all of them, which would be the high low, but not for the pivot scalp or the intraday. Let's see what else we got over here. Yeah, so I'm probably just going to sit out the market for a bit because we do have high impact news coming up in about 9 minutes. I don't know if this is affected by the FTMO parameters with regard to holding off on trades, but I'm not going to take it because it's just too risky. I'll just check it out first real quick. I don't think I don't think there's any news that really affects US 30. It's more so forex pairs and stuff like that. Yeah, exactly, Maddie. So Maddie said, yeah, the double wick on the bottom reversed almost a stop loss. I agree. And that's why I wouldn't want to take that trade. That's why, so you guys can see here that Maddie is able to identify a lot of different confirmations here. Price action and break above here. So now this high is going to be pushed a little higher. So no break above there. There's no entries there for any of the strategies, not even the high low because it didn't close above it. Yeah, looking at the news right now, the JOLTS job opening is actually not restricted. The restricted event would be the crude oil inventories. But it's just for oil. I don't think US 30 is ever really affected by anything. Okay, cool. So FTMO actually uses Forex Factory for their news as well. So it's good because it lines up with our news as well, because that's exactly what we use. So we got news coming up in about 7 minutes, guys. So I wouldn't recommend entering any trades right now, because when the news happens right here with regard to the JOLTS job openings, it's probably going to spike price one way or the other, which is a good thing for us because price is kind of dead right now. It looks like a lot of people are just sitting out the market and waiting as well for movement with regard to that news event. Once we have movement, then price will probably be spiked one way or the other. Hapisty's asking, hi, for FTMO restricted news, where do you check FTMO restrictions? You check it on the FTMO website. When you log into your client area, if you scroll down, there's an economic calendar on the left side panel. And then you can see which news are affected there, Hapisty. Yeah, no problem. It's usually just Forex pairs and like certain futures like oil, because obviously the oil news is coming up later today too. Oh, perfect. Thanks, Peter. All right. So we're pretty much just going to sit tight for a bit because the news is coming up shortly. If you guys have any questions, feel free to drop your questions in the chat. Since we do have some downtime right here, I can answer whatever questions you guys need help with. We have a sell signal right here. If this sell signal closes, it would technically be an entry for these two strategies right here. However, it doesn't fit the requirements for the high-low scalp. So it's not one that I would take. Also, we have news coming up in a few minutes. So not one that I would want to take myself either way. So let me just delete this here. As you guys can see, this is exactly why I wouldn't have taken the snipe here, right? And this is why it's important that you guys look at different factors and are not just entering trades for whatever reason, right? Because a lot of people enter trades without even looking at the red flags in the market. If you were to enter this trade, you would have went straight to your stop loss, right? But you guys heard my analysis with regards to why I wasn't entering this trade. For one, it was getting close to the Asia low right here. For two, the fundamentals were bullish. For three, retail sentiment was short. For four, it didn't line up with the 3-minute entry over here because this never closed. And for five, we had news coming up shortly. So there's a lot of reasons why I wouldn't have taken that entry right there. And one thing that a lot of people need to realize and understand is that you don't need to take every single trade. You need to take trades that are quality, right? Meaning that you're checking the trade inside and out, identifying it from both perspectives, for both a buy and a sell. And you'd be able to weigh your pros and cons. Like for example, here we had a sell entry, and you can see prices now coming right back down, right? So the thing is, you could have skipped this one and then just waited for this entry right here, because there's going to be a second entry here. This was the fake out, obviously. Looks like it would probably hit your stop loss and then come right back down for another entry. And if this entry right here continues, it'll probably drop down and hit full TP, right? So it's really important that you guys are able to analyze each trade and make sure that you guys are taking only trades that you're absolutely certain are going to hit, because you're going to get multiple entries here, but it's going to be your job to determine the risk parameters with regard to each entry, because not every entry is going to be 100% win. And your main goal here should be to be avoiding losses, not necessarily looking for every single win. Because the thing is, if you have X amount of wins and then X amount of losses, you're going to get brought back down to break even. But if you have all wins and no losses, then you're going to continue to grow your account, right? And that should be the key there. It's all risk. It's all about risk management. News is coming up in about 4 minutes, so we'll be waiting for that. Charlie said the 1 minute hit TP. Yeah, so it already hit TP right there. This is the one that we were looking at shortly, like not too long ago. I mentioned that if this closed here with the sell signal, it would qualify as an entry for the pivot scalp and the intraday entry, but not for the high-low scalp. So it's not one that I would be looking to take myself personally, but it would have hit TP right there. Yeah. So pretty much full TP off that right there for whoever caught it. I don't know if you caught it, Charlie, but yeah, straight to TP right there. So as you guys can see, all of the strategies were perfectly fine, but just like what I mentioned before, you got to look for the quality entries. You can't be looking for every single trade. Nice, Charlie caught some of it. He said it spiked too fast. Yeah, this thing spiked pretty crazy. One thing that you want to be careful of is the news coming up in the next 3 minutes, because the JOLTS job openings is anticipated to be positive news. So when that news comes out, price can easily just spike right back to the upside. So I wouldn't be looking to take any sells right now anyways. All right, news in about 2 minutes. Yeah, I know there's a high-low entry right here, guys, but I wouldn't take it. Just like I mentioned earlier, the JOLTS job openings is coming up shortly in the next 2 minutes. The news is anticipated to be positive. So if that happens, price might just shoot right back up. So I'm not looking to take any sells right now. Also looking at the fundamentals, it's still bullish. So you guys can't forget about fundamentals, right? Fundamentals are always going to be number one. It's not very strong for a bullish push. It's 15 points in the green. So it's not very much at all, but it is bullish. So you guys do have to keep in mind that that the market is still bullish. Even though it's not strong, it is still bullish. So let's see what happens in the next minute or so. We'll see how the market reacts to the news event. We also have news coming up in the next 30 minutes as well. So I mean, there's a lot of stuff back to back today. There's the JOLTS job openings at 7. Then at 7:30, we have crude oil inventories. Then at 10, we have the 10-year bond auction. So let's see. Jay, have you looked at your invite only indicators? Make sure that you're not searching for it. Just go to your indicators, go to your invite only, and it should be right here. It's called the K2 high low. Should be right here. You can't find it on the page either. So don't look on the page, just look open indicators, go to invite only scripts, and it'll say K2 high low right there. Jay. Okay, perfect. Yeah, no problem, Jay. Yeah, Jay said he got it. Yeah, I know it's been a while since you've used them. You're good. All right, so the news just came out right now. You can see it pushed up slightly. I don't know how long it'll hold for, but you guys can see that it had that bullish push right there when the news came out. The low got established a little further, and this is pretty much the range now at this moment. Just fix this real quick. So you can see prices pushing up right there. Let's check the news real quick, refresh this. JOLTS job openings. It was positive, just like we anticipated, right? So we were anticipating that bullish confirmation with regards to the news. It was very bullish. So this just pretty much indicates how many job openings are there. Previously, there was 10.44 million. Now there's 11.03 million. So with that said, you can see prices starting to push to the upside. I don't know how long it'll hold though, or if it'll even hold at all, but you probably want to hold off on entering trades, because the thing is, you don't want to get faked out. What might happen here is a lot of people are looking for it to be bullish. So the thing is, you don't want to enter the trade for a buy here just yet, because what could happen is it'll push up slightly and then it'll fake people out, come right back down, stop people out, and then it'll come right back up, right? So just don't get caught in that trap there, guys. This is a classic trap. You basically don't want to be trading where the majority of people are trading. A lot of people are looking for a buy right now. And we're looking for a buy too. However, we're not looking to just enter any trade, right? You guys want to be careful and you guys want to wait for the confirmation before you guys take anything. Up here, I was trying to clean it up, but you know, I might just have to make this smaller. It's kind of big. There we go. This would help a lot. There we go. Huge difference. All right, so as you can see, price isn't really moving too much. It's just waiting. I mean, it's kind of just sitting. It's bouncing around, but it is bullish. So you can see price coming around right here. You just don't want to get caught in this fake out. I know we'll have a buy entry right here. This would technically be an entry using the pivot scalp, but it's not one that I would take on its own. You know, like I've been mentioning, I'm looking for trades that line up with all of these three strategies in one. So what I'm looking for here is I'm looking for price to come right back down, and then I'm going to be looking for it to shoot back up, and I'll take it for a buy right there. But right now, currently, not necessarily looking for that. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4. We got 4 candles right here. If we have 2 more candles after this, then we can establish this as a high. But this is still currently the pending high right now. It's not established yet because it hasn't been. There hasn't been 5 candles after it. But when the 5 candles do come, then this will be established as the high. So let's see. And if it breaks past, that's fine. You know, it'll invalidate this pending high, and then we'll just create a new one after that, or we'll use this other one. And the market is dead today, huh? It's not really moving too much, guys. I was expecting there to be at least a bigger push once the news came out, but not so much. We have the next news event coming out at 7:30, I believe. Yeah, 7:30, we have crude oil inventories. But right now, the market is kind of just flat. It's not really moving too much. This would be fine, though. So what I kind of want to happen here is I want this range to get tighter. Once this range over here gets tighter, then we can take it when it finally swings to the upside right here and breaks this high, right? Because the thing is, if we're going to take that for a long position, that's cool because we get in and out real quick. But yeah, it's just going to be a matter of time. So it's all right if price starts to range within this area, as long as you guys can see that price is currently ranging, right? So what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to move this from opening price so that you guys can see where the range is at. Right. So if I turn off all these indicators right here, you guys can see how price is ranging, right? Market open right here at 6:30. This is the big range, and then this is the smaller range within this area. But other than that, there's not really much going on. Price has only moved like 1,200 pips for the entire session, which is not much at all, right? Or 3,000. So 1,300 pips for the entire session. Market's been open for about well over 30 minutes now. There should be a bigger push here. The market's pretty much dead at this moment. This is what makes trading during the holidays a bit wishy-washy, right? Because there's going to be some days where you'll see high volatility. There's going to be some days where you see low volatility. Like today, there's news, but there isn't very much volatility. It's going to be hard to really gauge, you know, when there's going to be a volatile day. That's where you have to be active every day, and you have to be analyzing the market to confirm how the market is moving, because the market's going to be changing all the time. It's just it's going to be, you know, your job and your responsibility to identify how the market is moving. So what I'm going to do here on this chart is I'm going to draw up the times right here from 6:30 to 8 like we do every morning, 8 to 9, 9 to 10, and then 10 to 12. So as you guys can see right here, this is current direction of price. Not really doing too much at all. I mean, it's basically just going back and forth in a consolidation. So what I'll do here is I'll draw where the highs and the lows are, just so that you guys can see exactly where price is moving as well. So that's the high. And then I'll draw the smaller lows over here as well, so that you guys can see where price currently is. All right, cool. So that's pretty much what market's looking like right now. You can see that it's not really moving at all. And this is a clean chart. So let me turn this off right here. And there you go with no indicators. I pretty much drew the zones, or not really the zones, but the highs and the lows. And that's pretty much it. So as you can see, price is starting to make its way to the downside. Let's see. Charlie says, if it closes with a 10-minute buy signal, would that be the daily? Let me check real quick. Yeah. So if it does, you guys can see this is the daily from yesterday, hit full TP. Going over here, let me just clean this up real quick. All right, Charlie. So let's see. 6:30 is right here. Yeah, if we get a buy signal over here, then that would be the daily entry for the 10-minute, which could be the move. It could be like what we did yesterday. So if you guys remember yesterday, we identified the buy for US 30 for the daily, and then we traded within that buy there. So we made a ton of profit yesterday because we were able to cash both the moves, both the daily plus the 1-minute scalps between. And everyone did like pretty good on that day as well. So let's see. So a couple people here did take some trades, the riskier trades that we were discussing earlier. Albert over here locked in a total of 3,301, pretty much all wins right here. He took the buys earlier and he took a sell on open. So nice work right there, Albert. Looking at Dell over here, Dell as well, took some buys and some sells, a total profit of 641 for the day. So definitely, yeah, definitely some great profits right there, guys, to kick off the session. I'm still not in any positions for today. I'm being very conservative and careful with my entries. So I'm not taking anything that goes against my risk parameters. So personally, right now, I'm looking for, let me go back to the fundamentals. The fundamentals aren't even one-sided at all. You can see that it hasn't really changed at all, right? It's still at 30 points. So nothing's really going on. There's no bias right here for the fundamentals. It is bullish, but it's not very strong. Looking over here at the stock index, you can see that everything's pretty much even. It's not one-sided at all. It's half red, half green. So with that said, there's no bias here with regards to the fundamentals. So what we have to look at is we have to look at the technicals. Also looking at retail sentiment over here, it's currently 58% short. So it's not very strong on the short side just yet. You know, in order for it to be strong, we want it to be about 65 to 75 to 80% in one direction. Right now, currently it's only 58. So there's no bias here. I mean, there's a bias here, but it's not very strong off the retail sentiment. Also looking at the fundamentals over here, there's no bias at all either. It's 30. And then going over to the technicals over here, you can see price is barely even moving at all. So, you know, putting everything all together into one analysis, there just isn't much for us to look at this point. We got a pending low over here. In order for that to be established, we need 5 candles to pass after it. So this low right here has been established. We need 1, 2, 3, 4. This is only 3. So we got 3. We need 2 more candles after this one before we can establish this as the new low. But it's cool because if this happens right here, you guys can see that the range is actually getting tighter. So let me go over here to this clean chart. You guys can see here that this is the wider range. So what I'll do is I'll just color this another color, right? So that you guys can identify and see what's the wider range and what's the smaller range within it. So this right here is a wide range. This right here is a small range. So as you can see, price is getting tighter, right? If you just draw like an arrow from this point, price is starting to squeeze. Right? This is okay because when price starts to squeeze, this just charges up for a breakout in either direction. So that's fine. You know, let the market squeeze. And then once it breaks out, we can, you know, be ready to take that trade there. So looking at this buy signal right here, if this closes above this, this high right here, then we can take this for an entry. However, if it doesn't close above it, there's not going to be an entry available. So you guys got to be paying attention and waiting for these, because this trade can come in a blink of an eye. All right, we got a pending buy here, which is fine. You guys got to keep in mind that we have crude oil inventories coming up at 7:30. So it's 7:13 right now. The news is coming up in about 17 minutes. Yeah, and Rav said we need the trend meter to be green as well. No, I agree. So Rav, you're right about that. I wasn't even thinking about that too. Totally missed that. So yeah, actually, if we get a buy entry that comes above here, this would be an entry for the pivot scalp and the high low, but it wouldn't be an intraday entry because we need the trend meter to match it as well. You can see price is just indecisive. It's not really choosing a direction at all here. Yeah, Maddie's looking for the buy right there too. So we'll see what happens here, guys. The trend meter is not green, so I don't know if it's one that I would necessarily be okay with taking just yet. Man, this market is trash. It's so slow today. It's a lot slower than I was anticipating. I thought today was actually going to be a busier day because of the news, but it's not busier at all. It's actually slower. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, technically, if this closes below here, this would be a high-low entry for a sell, but it's not one that I would take. Fundamentals are still green. Not very strong, but they're still green. Yeah, so this right here would technically be a high-low entry if it closes below. It's not. It didn't even close below though, so no entry off that. Yeah, a new low is technically here now. So this is a clean chart that I marked up earlier. You can see there's not really much going on. It's still stuck in that area. All right, going back to the other chart over here, we have another pending low that needs to be established. Yeah, I mean, there's nothing. There's really nothing for us to look at here. I mean, I'm looking for something to come up, but there's just nothing that's coming up here. Not even on the 10-minute. There's no 10-minute signal. There's no 3-minute signal. There's nothing here. There's just a 1-minute pending right here. But like Rav said, we need the trend meter to be green. Looks like in order for it to be green, price we need to close above here. Because this is the last time it was green within this area. This is the high right here. So it's going to push at least above. Well, actually, yeah, if it pushes above this high right here, then it would establish as the trend meter being green. So see what happens. Yeah, there is, Maddie. Maddie said he thinks there's a 10-minute snipe running for a sell. Yeah, so there's technically a 10-minute snipe running, but it's not one that I would take. So technically right here, I mean, these are all snipes right here that would have came up. But it's not one that I would take. It's against the fundamentals, also against the bias with regard to retail sentiment. Because you don't want to be trading where everyone else is trading. If majority of people are short, you definitely don't want to be on the short side. It's 58% short right now. So I'm still looking for a buy. We have a pending buy here off the 10-minute. I think this would be key. If we get the buy signal here, I probably won't be taking the daily entry, but I'll be using this as a guide to indicate, that price is going to be pushing to the upside. So we do have this pending buy over here off this 1 minute as well. But in order for me to take this trade, I would need this to be, I would need this to have the trend meter green as well. Man, this thing is like barely moving. Let's move a little closer so it's easier to see. It's crazy how tight this range is because we're like in the middle of New York session. You'd expect the market to be moving for the Dow 30. This is like one of the most volatile assets that's traded, but it's just crazy slow right now. All right, so the trend meter turned blue right here, Rav. As you can see, it's starting to change. So if we get the buy signal that closes above this area, then let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Actually, there's going to be another high right here. Oh man, don't tell me it's going to close invalid. If it closes invalid, it's pretty much going to mess up our entire move here. All right. G's asking, is it slow because of the 1 day chart? We're on the 1 minute chart, G. The 1 day is it's just a bigger candle because it encompasses the entire day for US 30. We're on the 1 minute. We don't really use the 1 day, the daily chart. I mean, if you want to look at the daily, we can pull it up. Let's see. Yeah, I mean, it does make a difference for like how it is on here. I mean, it could have an effect on it, but not really, because the thing is, it's like the volatility doesn't really matter where the range is for the daily. The volatility just matters where the market's moving for the day. So like, it just depends on how many orders you're going in and out of the market. It seems like a lot of people are just out. So like, I can see what you see here. You kind of think that, because it's in the middle of the range for the daily, that it would kind of slow down, but you can see just like looking at each candle, there's like some days where they're like small candles, like this candle right here is super small. This candle is huge. So I don't think the daily really affects it. It just depends on like what's going on in the market for the day. Today, I was expecting the market to be busier because there was a lot of news, but I mean, that was a surprise for us. It just hasn't really moved at all. The market's actually been really slow for the past like couple hours. So you can see right here, G, like basically for the past couple hours, market's been pretty dead. Or this is like from yesterday, actually. So market was actually pretty dead like all throughout the days. And then it got busy for like 1 hour or 2 hours and then just died down again right here. All right. Yeah, no, G, exactly. GC yesterday was too blessed, 100%. We made a lot of profit yesterday, so it was good. And that's why it's key that you guys are consistent with your trading. Like, you guys can't take days off, because the thing is, if you guys take days off, you can miss the good day and then you'd be stuck trading on a day like this where the market's super slow. So, it's always key that you guys are consistent with your trading, you're consistent with your analysis, because the market is always going to be changing. The thing is, are you going to be able to evolve with the market, right? So with us, we're always adapting to the market, depending if the market's quick, the market's slow, we're still making moves in the market. regardless as to how it's been moving. But it's, you know, it just depends on how you approach it. So we got a pending buy right here. News is going to come up in about 9 minutes. So we do have news coming up shortly. Crude oil inventories. It's not going to directly affect the market, but it will affect it one way or the other. Yeah. So we got the buy signal there, but it didn't close above anything. So it's not really useful at all. Patrick said a lot. No days off. Sean's running a trading sweatshop. Right, Patrick? I mean, money doesn't sleep, right? So, and this is like fun to me. So I don't know if this is fun to you guys, but I think trading is like fun to me. So the profits are just extra. You know, I like coming up. I like just trading. Like trading is just fun, and the profits are just a thing that comes along with trading. It's kind of like playing a game, right? This is like playing a game every morning, or what I would consider solving a puzzle. Because every day you get these candles, you got to figure out what to do with these candles, and you're kind of just solving the puzzle every single day. It's a new puzzle. So yeah, I mean, what I would recommend is like, don't come into trading with like the wrong mindset, right? If you're coming in just for profits, which is fine, that's where greed will come in. And greed is usually what messes everybody up, right? It's revenge trading, it's over leveraging, it's gambling, stuff like that. If you treat it like a business or you treat it like a job, and you come in every day, same mindset, you know, you don't get emotional with your trades, you should do perfectly fine. Peter, yeah. Patrick said, yeah, same here. Money's great, but the fun is in the puzzle and the group here for sure. Yeah, definitely, Patrick. Same with me. And Patrick, Peter said as well. Peter said it's definitely fun. It's why I now hate the weekends. Yeah, when I first started trading, and during the weekends, I was always back testing. That's how I created all these strategies here, guys. Because like I was so addicted to like solving the puzzle every day. So I would back test like days and days and days to figure out what fit the puzzle. And you know, these strategies fit it perfectly. So that's why we've been applying these, and that's why these strategies are so accurate, because I've tested these through pretty much every season for so many years back. Let's see. Charlie said your strat would hit for the 717 and 718 candle. Let me check that real quick. I don't see one right here at 717, Charlie. I'm not sure if you're looking at a different day. But like right here on the 717 and 718, I don't see any, but I'm trying to figure out which strategy you're referring to, Charlie, because I don't see any of the momentum signal. Oh, okay, I got you. Yeah, no, I see what you're saying. Yeah. Yeah, I'm trying to stay away from these risky trades though. So like going back over here to the clean chart, you can see that the range hasn't really done anything, right? It's literally ranging right now, right down this middle, which is fine because even though it's ranging at this point, it can easily break out one way or the other. And when it does break out, we'll be waiting for that to happen. Yeah, Rav said, I think it's because of waiting for the news why it's slow. And I agree, Rav. You know, a lot of people are in the same position as us, right? They're being very conservative with their trades, not just retail traders, but you know, the market makers as well. You know, everyone's being smart about their moves right now. So just looking at this clean chart, nothing's really going on. It's literally just going sideways. And even though it charts with our indicators and markups right here, it's not really doing anything. So just looking at this over here, let me just show you, like for the past 30 minutes, price has only ranged. Wow, this is crazy. Can you guys believe that? In the past like 30 minutes, price has only ranged about 300 pips. Like that's I mean, it blows my mind because it's like we're trading during New York session, so, or actually a little more, like 400. But still, even at that case, like usually we're worried to trade these strategies during New York sometimes because our stop loss is 300 pips, but like it wouldn't even hit our stop loss if we entered anywhere in the middle. Yeah, G said never seen it this slow. I've never seen it this slow. Well, not I lied. I've seen it like this slow before, but this would be like it's like a lot slower than I've seen in forever. Like this is how the market moves like on Christmas Day. not Christmas Day, markets close on Christmas Day. This is how the market moves on like Christmas Eve, because nobody's trading during Christmas Eve, right? Everyone's traveling or they're celebrating with their families. So if you try to trade during Christmas Eve, the market's gonna be like this. It's December 8th though, and there's no holiday today. There's actually news, and the market is still pretty dead. Let me check this real quick. CSUK locked in some profits. Nice work, CSUK. So CSUK over here locked in a total of 2,404. So he's taking some risky trades here, but these might be from last night actually. And then his other account over here, he's up 6,300. So I don't know if he held these from last night or he's just been scalping in between, but pre-market. Okay, nice, CSUK. So CSUK caught these pre-market over here. Looking over at, let's see. Looking over at Maddie over here. Let's see. So Maddie actually caught the variation, and I saw that variation too, Maddie, but I didn't take it. So Maddie saw the variation right here. Basically, there was a double wick rejection right there. He took this for a sell. Let me see Maddie's markup here. Yeah, he took that right there exactly. Took the variation right there, and then he hit his TP. So Maddie took the variation, locked in a total of 168. I didn't take that variation there. And then his other one right here for 273. So nice work right here, Maddie. Yeah, Maddie said took the sell variation, but it was super, super risky. So I pulled early. Yeah, I wouldn't have taken it because I'm not looking to take any sells here. So his other account as well. So this one right here at 168, this one right here at 273, and 273 off this one. So yeah, nice work right there, Maddie. I saw that too, but I was like, no, I'm not going to take it because I'm not really looking to take any sells right now. I was looking to take some buys. If I had the double wick on the bottom, I would have taken it, but not for that one specifically. All right, the news is coming up in about 2 minutes, guys. When the news happens, hopefully that pushes price one direction or the other and breaks out of this range. If it does break out of the range, then we can start looking for some actual entries here. This right here would technically be a high-low entry. However, the news is coming up in about 2 minutes, so I wouldn't take it. But I'll just mark this up here so that you guys can see where it goes. And you can see right there, it is currently hit TP. So as you guys can see right here, this entry right here was using the high-low scalp. It's not one that I would take because like I mentioned earlier, I'm not looking to take any sells. Also, I'm not looking to take it if it doesn't line up with any of these other strategies here. So if this closes below here, this would actually be another high-low entry. So there's one high-low entry right there that would have hit full TP for that sell. Reason for that's because this candle right here broke below it. We had a sell signal, confirms all the requirements here for a sell. Again, right here, if this closes below here, this is going to be another sell down below here. The only problem with this is that it's so close to the Asia high. And this is all pre-news because news is coming up in about a minute. So I wouldn't take this trade here because it's right at this Asia low. What can happen at this Asia low is that price can just bounce right back up. But again, right here, this would be an entry using the high-low scalp, not one that I would take. News is coming up. It's just released right now. And the news is probably positive. So you can see right there, price starting to push to the upside. Refresh this. Let's see what the news looks like for the crude oil inventories. So news was actually negative. It was negative 0.9. It was negative 1.5. And now it's negative negative 0.2. So this is negative right here because the crude oil inventories are actually high. The lower the inventory, the better, because it would indicate that that people are buying, like, oil is being bought. Right now it's not being bought. So there's a high inventory of oil. So with that said, it's not good for the market here. So you can see the market doing the opposite of what the news released. But this is exactly what we were waiting for. This is perfect because now that price is broken out of this area, we now have a wider range. So let's drop this range lower here. So you can see volatility starting to pick up a little bit, which is great. This is exactly what we were waiting for pretty much this entire day. All right, so let me just adjust this a little bit over here. The new low is like way down here. This low is broken. I think there's another high here. Or I can move this too. There's actually a couple highs right here. All right. So as you can see at this point right here, price is starting to bounce its way back up, which is okay. Let's check the 10 minutes to see if there was anything here. The buy signal never came. This is actually good. I want it to drop a little further so that when you do get a buy signal, it'd be a lot lower on the lower side, so that if it does push up, we don't have to break any previous highs, right? So here on the 10 minute, if you were to take the trade here for the daily, it could push up to here easily without having to break any new highs. If it breaks the highs up here, this is where it becomes risky because price can easily bounce off those points. Maddie said the snipe hit. So let me check that real quick. Yeah, actually the snipe here hit perfectly. So these two snipes here actually hit pretty nice. But you can see how volatile it's been over here. Not necessarily right now, but here prior, where price is going back and forth. But yeah, the snipe here did take for a sell off that previous candle right there. But I didn't take it. You know, I didn't take it. I don't think anyone else here took it either. I'll try to keep these a little smaller, or we'll keep the daily on its own. It's fine. But everything else a little smaller. Let's see. D said a 3-minute signal came in for a sell. Yeah, this signal here came in, but I wouldn't have taken it because of the news that just came out. So this is why you guys want to be careful around news. Whenever there's news coming up, whether it directly affects US 30 or not, most of the time it's not going to affect it directly. It's going to affect it indirectly. I would just hold off because you'll see, you know, movements like this in price because the news event happened right here at 7:30. So you can see how it started to make its way down and then it bounced all the way back up because the news event happened right here. So it was coming down and then right at 7:30, it came right back up. Even though the news was negative, it still came right back up. And that's why I personally just avoid trading altogether when news is happening. And then I just wait to see what happens when, you know, how price reacts to the news. And then from there, I'll start taking some trades. All right, so currently right now, we have a pending high right here. This low right here has been established. Let's check over at the fundamentals real quick to see where this is sitting. Hasn't really changed too much. The fundamentals are currently now -13, which is not much at all. Looking over here at the stock index, everything is pretty much even. So not really any changes right here. Pretty much the same thing for the most part. Yeah, other than that, let's see if there's anything else here for us to take a look at. 7:35 right now. I was hoping I could get at least one entry before 8, but it's not looking like it. Market is kind of slow. And it's crazy because we have all these highs and lows here that are being established, but price hasn't been breaking any of them. It's broken a couple down here, but not necessarily any big enough move. So looking at current price right now, it's getting in a tighter range down here. So currently at this moment, this range over here is pretty much irrelevant. Like all these highs over here, price is not going within this tighter range right here. So this is okay. I actually like this right here where it's in this tighter range because it just gives it room to break out to the upside, right? And this could be the reversal right here. Price can easily reverse off this point, come up, come down, and then push up higher. So this could actually be the reversal point for US 30. Back to the other side, back to the bullish move right there. But I don't know, we'll see. We'll have to wait and see if this actually goes back up to the upside. Because this kind of looks like what's gonna what's playing out here. Goes a low, high, come back down for the low, push right back up. So, I mean, I'm still waiting for a trade. We'll see if this plays out here. It might not, who knows? But from my perspective right here, this looks like it's going to swing right back up. The reason why I think that is because you just look at current price right now, right? Price has been dropping for so long right here from earlier this morning. So it looks like it might be time for it to swing right back up, right? Price been dropping for so long. Looks like it finally hit the low right here. It's ready to shoot right back up, but who knows? We just got to be patient. What I recommend is don't trade with your emotions today, guys. Because the thing is, if you chase a move or you FOMO into a trade, it's probably not going to end very well. Because I feel like a lot of traps are being set up right now, or being like, I feel like they're like the market is like literally playing with us at this moment. Because it's not moving at all. It should be moving. There's the two news events, right? There's two, I mean, pretty decent news events. The JOLTS job openings should have affected the market. The crude oil inventories, this shouldn't have affected it as much as the JOLTS job openings, but it did. And then at 10 o'clock, we have the 10-year bond auction. So yeah, Rav said, let's hope so. I need two good trades with good spread. Yeah, no, exactly, Rav, same here. But as it gets closer to 8, it's, the market's probably going to die down even more. It'll probably just consolidate until like 10. So if we don't get any good trades until 8 or by 8, then, the trades are probably not going to start moving. Yeah, Maddie said, this is moving like Asia session. It is. It's not really moving at all. Yeah, it is trash, man. Yes, because I haven't seen it move this slow during New York session like this early in December. Usually, and one way that you guys can do that is you guys can always go back to, so like earlier we were looking at the daily chart, right, with G. So let's go over here to the daily chart. So this is December 8th on for this year. So as you can see right here, it's only moved like, X amount. It's a super small candle, really small. If you go over to December 8th on 2020, actually, we could probably put them all on one chart or both on one chart. Let's turn this off. All right, so let's see. Yeah, so we'll measure December 8th for last year. December 8th was right here. Actually, it's moving around the same speed. Not as much, but December 8th is right here. For the entire day, it moved about 3,650 pips, which is a pretty good range for a day. Looking at the range for today, it's not there yet, but it's still early morning. So we still got like some time right here. So last year, this is how much it moved, same day, 3,650 pips. Today, it's only moved 2,950 pips. So it's still got 1,000 pips to go to catch up to, or close to 1,000 pips to catch up to last year's movement. So it's still early in the morning. What we could probably expect is if the market doesn't pick up right now, it'll probably pick up later in the day. Let's see, nothing here. 739. Trying to figure out what trade did you guys take? Maddie, 739. Must be a different variation. Oh, okay, I see what you mean. Oh, gotcha. Okay. So yeah, it was below here. So if I just replay this, oh, okay, I see what you're saying. Yeah, because there was a variation right there, or the one prior to that. Yeah, I can see. So there's actually a pending variation that was right there. This is what Matty took with his brother Charles. They both took this variation right here for a quick little buy. You guys probably took it for 50 pips, huh? It's super small move. Yeah, or maybe even 10. Yeah, you guys got in and out really quick. Yeah, no, it was good. Uh, yeah, you guys caught that on point. It was a really quick move right there. So another high has been established. I mean, not a high, a low. Right here, let's move this down slightly. Yeah, you guys were like literally hawking that move right there. Um, there might be another variation right here, actually. No, there's no variation off that. Um, man, this market sucks. Hoping to pick up by now. It's getting closer to 8, but it still isn't really moving too much. Um, no variation off this right here, but this low's been invalidated because it already touched it. I actually have another low right here. All right, so I just gotta keep moving this down lower and lower. Man, this market's making me yawn. I usually don't yawn in the morning, but that's how it's like kind of how bored I am at this moment. It's 7:44 right now. So if you guys have any questions, feel free to drop your questions in the chat. I can answer whatever questions you guys have. If you have any confusion, anything you need help with, go ahead and drop your questions in the chat. The market's so slow right now that I don't think I'm going to have any entries for the day, which I mean, it's okay. You guys have to understand that some days it's kind of best not to trade. Like today, the market's too slow. Um, there's a couple people here who are catching trades, but I would consider them to be risky trades at this moment until we have something more quality up here. So let's see, the low got pushed down a little lower. Yeah, other than that, there's not really much for us to work with here. Let's see. Sam said, would you change your bias to a sell now that fundamentals are red and prices below the pivots on all time frames? Also, trend meter is red. Yeah, possibly, Sam. Very possibly, yeah. It can shift to a sell. If it's, let's see. Yeah, fundamentals are currently 40 points in the red. So yeah, I mean, it can shift both ways, just depending. The only problem is that it's not very strong, right? Like if this was like negative 100 points, then yeah, I would change it. The problem with this is that it keeps bouncing back and forth. So it was like negative 40. This is probably gonna be a smaller number now because prices continue to push up higher. It's only negative, it's negative 40 right now. And then as price continues to bounce back and forth, it'll just decrease. So it's not a strong bias. I think because the bias is so weak, it's mostly going to be based off the technicals right now. However, one thing that you want to keep in mind is that when price gets close to these previous session high lows, you just want to avoid trades in this area. So that's one rule that like Maddie kind of brought up to me that he uses himself, and I also use myself, is that when price gets close to these previous lows, I usually just hold off on entering any trades unless it's like rejecting right off the high low or of whatever session. Like for example, for this right here, if this was rejecting off it, then this would be okay for a sell if you're looking to enter a sell. Vice versa, if price comes above here and rejects off it, and you have two entries bouncing off it for a buy, then I would take it. But if price is like just pretty much moving around this area, because you can see right here, it's not really doing much. It's kind of just moving around this area back and forth. If it's doing this, then it's not one that I would consider worth risking, because price can easily bounce either way. So like, for example, here, it's bouncing off here for a sell, like from the top wick. It can easily bounce off this way. But if it bounces above here and then the wick bounces off the bottom side for a buy, then it can easily bounce that way too. So yeah, Sam, your bias can change in either direction. It's just going to be a matter of determining. Let me see this. 1 second. 1, 2. Yeah, no entry off this right here. If this was established as a low, then I would have taken this right here for a sell, but it didn't establish as a low. There's only 1, 2, 3 candles after. There needs to be 5 in order for it to be established. But yeah, going back to your question, Sam, your bias can change at any moment. It's just confirming where it's going, but yeah, the fundamentals are probably higher now for a sell. So now it's going to be 65 points in the red. Let's see, crypto CEOs testify before lawmakers on digital assets. So this is going on right now. Yeah, there's no entry off this. The low just keeps getting pushed lower and lower. There's no sell signal, so no entry off pivot scalp. Also no entry off the intraday. And then this low here was never established. So no entry off the high-low scalp either. Exactly, right, Maddie? Yeah, if it closed below there and it also had the sell signal, that'd be a nice sell, but it didn't for either of them. So good thing it didn't, because if it did, then we probably would have been tempted to enter that trade. And it's crazy how many highs are being established here, but they're not being broken. Guys, what I can see at this point is I might consider these liquidity zones, because since price hasn't gotten to this point yet. So here, just put it in this perspective. If you look at retail sentiment, let me just close this. It's irrelevant to us right now. Looking at retail sentiment right now, majority of the traders are currently are short right now, right? So the thing is, if you look at this here, I'm gonna go to a cleaner chart. And there's another high that was right there. All right, so as you can see right here, price has just been dropping, right? So for the traders who are on the short side, where do you think their stop losses are going to be? So for example, if you're here entering a short position, where their stop loss is going to be? They're going to be at these previous swings. So you could probably have liquidity in this area right here. You're probably going to have more liquidity in this area right here as well. And then lastly, you're going to have a lot of liquidity around here. So what I see happening is when price finally does swing to the upside, you're going to get a big push. So that's something to look out for. These areas have been establishing highs like over and over and over again, but it hasn't been tested. It hasn't been invalidated, it hasn't been broken. So what I do expect is, pretty much whenever people hop into these sells here, because you're seeing, just looking at what people are thinking here from a psychological perspective, people are entering sells. Their stop loss is going to be around these areas here, pretty much right through those circles. So maybe not this area yet, but I think this area right here, and this area is going to have a huge area of stop losses, right? So price reaches this point, which it probably will. If price reaches this point and the sentiment is still high on the short side, then when price reaches here, you're going to get a stop loss hunt, right? You guys have seen that before. Price will reach previous swings and it'll just spike up because it's going to trigger everyone's stop losses. So I would look out for that. I'm still not sold on the sell yet, because I think it's going to come right back up at some point. It's just it just hasn't happened yet, right? So one thing to keep an eye out for is when price reaches these highs here that have not been tested, because everyone's placing their stop losses around that area for whoever's in the sell. Exactly. Yeah. So Sam said this is true. I've noticed at the session high lows, it will range and sometimes reverse. I agree. It's a lot of fake outs that happen around the session high lows. Oh man, 751. So what a trash market today. No entries. It's almost 8. Um, yeah, DJ said it rejected off the 1 hour pivot also. Let me go to the 1 hour real quick. Nice. Yeah, so DJ caught that right there. He identified this as a rejection off the pivot. So actually, this could be charging up for a shoot to the upside right now. Yeah, this can easily bounce off. This candle is going to close in the next 8 minutes. So 8 o'clock is going to come in about 8 minutes. Once it bounces off there, it can easily just shoot right to the upside. So looking at DJ's analysis right here, you can see the last time or every time it pretty much bounced off the pivots, right? So right here, same exact pivot, pivot number 3. This red candle right here came down, bounced off the pivot, and look how far it shot up. Because what happened here is it triggered all the stop losses that I mentioned just a while ago, right? So I'll just replay this right here. And the same thing that I just mentioned right now, right? So if you look here, it's the same exact thing that I was just discussing. Stop losses in this area. Stop losses in this area. Stop losses in this area. And then look what happens at this point. I'm just going to show you an example. So price pushes up right here. It reaches this point. As soon as price breaks above this point, it triggers all the stop losses that are just waiting right there because price has never tested this area here. So price is bounced around that area and see how this big candle right here shoots up. Why do you think that candle right there shot up? Because it triggered all the stop losses within this point. So you can see there's small candles, but when it finally breaks above it, it shoots right to the top right there. It shoots up right here, tests this point. Once it breaks here, you're probably going to see another bullish push from there. Price kind of bounces off. It breaks above right there. And it just keeps pushing up higher and higher, right? Because it just triggers everyone's stop loss. That's basically what I'm anticipating right here as well. So we'll see. But yeah, thanks, DJ, for mentioning that. But we need the rejection. So we can't break below it. If it breaks below it and closes, then it's not going to be a rejection, right? It can break below and bounce right back up like it did right here, but it can't close below this pivot. If it closes below the pivot, then it might continue dropping even further. But we got 5 minutes left, so we'll see what happens. But no, that was a good spot right there with identifying that it's rejecting off the pivot, because you guys can use different confluences, right? That's why I have different time frames here. I have the 1 hour, I have the 10-minute, I have the 3-minute, and I have the 1 minute over here as well. You can see that the low just keeps getting pushed farther and farther below, which is all right. It's just not really pushing anywhere. Let's see. Nice. Vapid just sent me some profits. Let me see what you locked in today. Yep, exactly. Yeah, so DJ said, yep, that's what I meant. It's at the 1 hour pivot. Yeah, that could be solid. We'll see what happens in the next 5 minutes when it closes. So let's go over here real quick. Vapid over here. So Vapid took the high-low entry. He said weird ass market, LMAO. High-low strap, but I took a bigger move. So Vapid took the high-low entry off US 30, but he took like a bigger move. Like he just held on to it. So nice work right there, Vapid. He actually took the sell that we were marking up earlier and he caught it. So he made 31 bucks off that. So that's not bad at all. Profit's profit. Looking over here real quick. Let's see. A couple other people. Scrolling down a little bit. Yeah, Fahad said 0 losses today. Yes, 0 wins too, but 0 losses today. I'll take that as a win in today's very slow market. Just something to think about, I guess. Yeah, exactly, Fahad. As long as you're not losing, that's key, right? And Fahad's currently up. He's almost up 20K for right now off this this account. So I'm assuming you had the 100K account. You're currently up 1,119. So or 100,019. So that's definitely good. And his profit splits on Friday. Nice. So Fahad here, he's up 19,000, right? So his profit splits on Friday. So, you're thinking about this right here, 19,000, yeah, 19,109.77 times 80%. Fahad's going to get paid out 15,000 for the month, which is not bad at all, man. That's most than what a lot of people make in a paycheck, right? So great work right there, Fahad. And smart move on not taking risky trades because it's just not worth it. All right, this low just keeps getting pushed lower and lower. There was no entry that was there, but it's definitely getting pushed lower and lower. Let's go back to that 1 hour. We'll see what happens. It still has 2 minutes in here, so we can easily push right up in those last 2 minutes. But yeah, these lows just keep getting pushed lower and lower. So this is kind of what I expect to happen right here. This is the movement from 6:30 to 8. It was a bearish movement, but it was very slow. With this said right here, I think price is going to consolidate a little bit during the 8 to 9, maybe consolidate further, 9 to 10. And then I think from 10 to 12, we'll probably get that reversal. But who knows? Price can continue dropping. I don't see anything in the news causing price to really drop like this. Refreshing this right here. Pfizer and biotech say booster provides high level protection against Omicron, whatever. With that, yeah, I don't see anything else here. At all. Going over here to the fundamentals. The fundamentals are currently very red. So who knows? Price can continue dropping. It doesn't necessarily need to swing back to the upside. It can probably continue dropping further. But my guess is that it's going to swing back up because US 30 is a directional asset, right? So it pushes up or it pushes down. I think it's pushed down far enough and it's probably going to swing right back up. The thing here is that there's a couple stocks here that are red. Home Depot, Honeywell, Goldman Sachs, Microsoft, JP Morgan, Walmart. I don't know if there's any other news coming up today. I think there is at like 10. Yeah, there's a 10-year bond auction. So I think this is key tomorrow, guys. Tomorrow we have unemployment claims. This is probably going to be good. So last month it was 222,000. They're forecasting it to be 218,000. So with less unemployment claims, it's going to be good for the news. So what might happen is price might continue dropping, for the rest of today, and then tomorrow it'll swing right back up. So maybe for the rest of today, market might be a bit slow and it'll continue dropping gradually. But I think tomorrow when the unemployment news gets released, it's probably going to be bullish because they're forecasting it to be positive. I'm also thinking it's going to be positive as well. We're getting close to the holidays, guys. So a lot of people are going back to work or they're doing some type of work so that they can, buy gifts and stuff. So I think unemployment claims are going to be lower. People are going to be going back to work, especially for this month during the holidays. Just using basic logic, guys. Like you don't have to have like a crazy economics background to understand this stuff. It's just common sense. It's like, okay, holidays are coming around. People need money, right? People need money. What are they going to do? They're going to work. And if they're going to work, unemployment's going to be down. So, it's not rocket science. And I mean, obviously you can have an economics background, have a better perspective of it, but just using basic common sense and logic, you can kind of tell that unemployment is probably going to be lower. And with that said, it's going to affect the market. So let me just push this down a little lower. This price just keeps dropping lower and lower. All right, so now it's at the London low. I think this might be where it bottoms out. Maybe, maybe not, who knows? The 1 hour actually closed below a DJ. So unfortunately the rejection didn't happen there that we were looking for, which is fine. Because you can see here sometimes that price breaks below and then swings right back up. Or even in the opposite direction. So let's see. Yeah, like in November over here, right? Price closed below, it dropped a little further, but then it swung right back up. So the swing up might not happen right now, might not happen today, but I think by tomorrow it'll probably have its run its course. We'll see what happens, but I think for now, I think I'm pretty much done. I don't really see anything good. I want to stay on this live session. I want to catch at least one trade with you guys, but I just don't see anything here worthwhile. I was looking for possible changes with my bias for a sell, but this low right here was just invalidated. So this is like no longer even going to be a low at this point. This thing might shift back up though. We'll see. I see your message, Randy. Maybe I'll hang out for a little bit longer. If you guys have questions, feel free to drop your questions in the chat. I'm just going to see how the market moves in the next couple minutes or so. If it doesn't do anything in the next like 10 minutes or so, then I'm just going to call it a day. This is probably a hint to just chill out for the day. Because the thing is, like, just like Fahad said earlier, you have to like know when not to trade. Knowing when not to trade is going to be key with maintaining your profits. So Maddie over here actually took, what did Maddie take over here? Buy variation. Oh, that's buy from earlier. So yeah, Maddie took the buy variation earlier. He locked in a total of 378. So he's in profit a total of 546 off his MFF account over here. His other account over here, he's at 579 off his FTMO. Nice work, Maddie. And then his other account over here, he's at 579 as well off his other FTMO. So nice work right there, Maddie, across all your accounts. This low here just keeps getting pushed lower and lower. It hasn't closed below that London low, but it has broken below it. So yeah, possible variation right here off this. Yeah, it looks like it could be a possible variation. But it is kind of risky because it's going against the fundamentals, but no, it broke right past it, Maddie. Yes, no variation off that. It actually went lower. And I'm just gonna fix these right here. I'm not gonna draw this process anymore. I'm gonna put it over here. It actually broke below. I was actually interested in taking that variation too if it came out. Yeah, Maddie said variation maybe didn't print. Yeah, I'm out. Yeah, it's the market is just not it's not giving anything good right now. I was really tempted to take that too, Maddie. It would have been a good one too if it didn't break below it and it had the double rejection for the variation. It would have pushed up right here for a nice little profit. Yeah, I would have hit the 100 pips too. Yeah, there goes my 1,000 profit right there. It's all good. It's all about discipline too, guys. If you guys see entries like that, I know like a lot of people would be tempted to just take it anyways. And you would have gotten lucky, right? You guys can get lucky X amount of times. It's just, how much till your luck runs out. So, it's just about being disciplined. Me and Maddie were looking for a variation here, but this candle right here dropped below it. So it didn't qualify as a variation. If it did though, I probably shouldn't have taken, if it did close, I probably would have FOMO'd into it because I know Maddie would have been FOMO'd, Maddie would have taken it. And just looking at Maddie's profits over here, he's been taking the variations that they've been hitting. It's just riskier. But yeah, I mean, I guess I'll hang out for like another 5 or 10 minutes or so, see if anything happens. If nothing happens, then I guess we'll just have to wrap up the session. It's a toss in the bucket for today, unfortunately. See how big this range today. I mean, it didn't range. It only ranged about 2,000 pips. It wasn't dramatically small, but it also wasn't dramatically big either. It's probably expecting at least like 3,000 range or 4,000 range for this morning due to all the news, but obviously that didn't play out. All right, so you can see that price is now getting into a tighter range, which is great. It's cool. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, I'm gonna wait a little longer, maybe a few more minutes, because the thing is, if this continues and this establishes as a low, if we get a sell signal and it closes below here, then that's going to fit all the requirements. It's also going to close below this London low. So that'd be even better, like a bigger confluence. So I'll hang out for like another 4 minutes or so to see if we get an entry. If you don't get an entry, then no, let's be wrapping it up for the day. Here we go. As price starts to push back up. I was hoping price was going to stay within that range. Doesn't look like it. All right. So the range got a little wider. See C6 profits over here. Let me check this real quick. Nice. So I just saw your profits right now that you sent to me. I'll take a look at our messages after the session, but yeah, looks good. Casey just sent me some profits too. So let's see. Casey said started with a 50K challenge a few days ago and currently up a good amount. After failing a few challenges, I learned to not to be greedy and when to stop trading for the day and be happy with profit. No losses so far. So Casey over here, he started a brand new account. He started to use, he started to analyze what he was doing wrong prior. Looks like it was greed, over trading, revenge trading, stuff like that. He, came back strong and now he has no losses for the entire week. So nice work right here, Casey. Not sure if you're still on this live session, but great work here. And this is key, right? It's key that you guys go back and understand what you're doing wrong. Because once you can figure out like what it is, whether it's greedy, over trading during bad sessions, it can be a game changer for you. So great work right here, Casey. I see that you're up 1,251 for the week, which is not bad at all for a 50K account. Looks like you should be passing your challenge, probably by next week or so. So yeah, great work right there, Casey. Other than that, let's see. I think that's it for now. Peter's asking, will a 10-year bond auction make US 30 move? It should, because bonds usually move opposite of the stock market. So like when the stock market's doing bad, people put their money into bonds, vice versa. When the stock market's doing good, they put their money in the stock market. Well, it doesn't necessarily do bad. So the bond market is just basically, it's just long-term investments. It's like there is, I don't really see anything in the market right now. Let's see. I'm trying to see if price is going to, let me check what the fundamentals are looking like right now. First, fundamentals are currently a 76 points. So it looks like the bias is starting to shift to a sell, but it's not very strong. It's still around that area. Looking over here at the stock index, majority of stocks here are red. And go back to the charts over here. Let's see. So B said, would that not be a variation? Let me see. It might have been right here. This one right here. Let me see. I just got to rewind it a little bit because I think that high there was pushed up higher. So let me just rewind it to like this count right here. Yeah, technically this right here would be a variation. Well, attempt to maybe, no, I'm not going to. Can't be FOMOing into these trades here. But yeah, this would be a variation right here. But I mean, this would go against like what I've been looking at this entire day, looking for a price to finally swing right back to the upside. The problem with this variation right here is that it bounced off this London low right here. So this can easily just continue pushing up higher. But yeah, this would be a variation entry. But there's just a lot of red flags with that entry right there. Maybe I'll wait for it to come back down. If it does come back down here, I'll do this. I'll mark it up like this. If it comes back down, then possibly a late entry or so. Here, let's see. Yeah, it's a bit risky. Because the thing is, it bounced right off this Asia low, not Asia low, the London low. So it's just that pattern right there where it swings right back up. It might come back down. So what I might do is I might set like a sell stop to catch it as it comes back down right here. But you know, the high just keeps getting pushed higher and higher. This is kind of what we were waiting for this entire session, right? We were waiting for it to finally swing to the upside. But yeah, I don't know. We'll see. Because the direction is kind of back and forth. It hasn't really chosen a direction at all. It's kind of just going back and forth with the market. Let me back over here real quick. I'm just like frustrated with the market today because I was really hoping I get at least one entry with you guys here. I haven't stayed on the session a little longer, but it doesn't look like I'm going to be getting anything anytime soon. So, all right, guys, I think I'm going to wrap up the session. The market isn't really doing much. I was hoping for it to finally give something, but it's not really giving us anything to work with. So if you guys have questions, you know, feel free to, here, let me see real quick. Rab said if it keeps going up with a 10-minute daily, safe to take. I mean, it depends, Rab. You have to look at the fundamentals to see if it actually swings right back up. I wouldn't necessarily just base it off, or I mean, you could, because we've been looking for this to swing to the upside, right? We've been looking for this to swing up pretty much this entire time. So, you know, looking at the requirements here, the cutoff is still at 9, right? So the thing is, I mean, you can take it if you see it, but it's, you know, obviously it's going to be a bit of a risky move. So, you know, it'd probably be up to you whether you want to take it or not. But I think personally, it might be a little risky. But who knows? I mean, you know, if you feel comfortable with it, then take it. But I would probably be a little bit careful with regard to that move there. Let me see how many pips this is from reaching. I want to see how far is it from like opening price, because what might happen is price might push back up to opening price. I know you guys remember that before in the past. Opening price is like right here. 1,000 pips. Yeah, I'm curious if it swings, if it continues to push up higher. All right. Yeah, so I mean, it very might as well, it could be a good entry, Rav, possibly. I just, you know, I can't really give you the 100% sure confidence. So like right here, this is why I wouldn't have taken the trade there. It bounced right off it, just like we anticipated. But I mean, who knows? It can come back down or it can push back up. There just hasn't been a direction that's been really confirmed yet. It's kind of just going back and forth. So I wouldn't necessarily hop into a buy here. Rab, I would look at the fundamentals. So when you do get the signal, I would make sure that the fundamentals are actually they're not very strong for a sell, which there probably aren't going to be because if it continues to push up higher, this number here is probably going to decrease even more. So keep an eye on it, but you know the cutoff is at 9. So if the entry doesn't come by then, which I don't think it will come, because it's already currently 8:16. So let's see, mark up the 9 o'clock right here. Yeah, like if you want to just disregard this requirement, then you can possibly take it if it comes up later. But I wouldn't consider it safe because you're pretty much taking off one of the requirements here. So if it does come up, it'll be a pretty nice move to the upside there. But I don't necessarily think it's going to be considered safe. I would still consider it risky because the fundamentals are still short. So, all right, guys, I think that's it for the session. If you guys have questions, go ahead and message me on Telegram or email me. Unfortunately, today was just a trash market day. So, yeah, if you guys do decide to trade, keep in mind that there's news coming up in the next couple hours at 10 o'clock. It's 8 o'clock right now. So in 2 hours, the 10-year bond auction is going to be coming up. So I would just probably sit out the market. But if you guys do have questions, feel free to reach out. Otherwise, I'll catch you guys back here tomorrow as we pick up the next trading day. I think there's some news tomorrow, so it might be, unemployment claims are coming out tomorrow. So hopefully the market's going to be a lot busier. But who knows? If it doesn't, then we'll just see what happens and work with what we can get during that session. So other than that, guys, have a great rest of your morning, and I will see you guys here tomorrow for the next session.